Good morning and welcome to Sri Lanka Morning Show. Today we have Sanji Caldera of Sanji Caldera and Associates with us in the studio. Good morning, Sanji.
Good morning, Sonali.
It's lovely to have you here.
Yeah, thank you for having me here today.
We'd like to discuss the opportunities or issues that students might face migrating to Australia. As we well know, it was very difficult during the time of the pandemic. How are things now?
Yes, certainly students did have issues. Now I call it opportunities. During the pandemic, there was no way that the students could come to Australia and study, but they were given opportunities to study overseas. Those are people who did actually were successful in getting entrance to their universities or whatever educational institutions, but they were not allowed to come to Australia to study,
Right.
which was a very important part. Now, the students are freely allowed to come, so long as they are genuine students. And these days we have many students coming from all over the world, and this is the time, if you are looking at pursuing your studies in Australia, this is the time that they need to make a decision.
That's wonderful news. Are there particular areas of study that Australia is seeking?
Yes, look, you could study whatever you want to study, but many students also, obviously, they look at opportunities of one day to get their permanent residency, so they do tend to concentrate on some of the areas, and one of the more popular areas, I can name just a few. Nursing is very popular, and obviously nurses are required, and cybersecurity, and in the trades, in the hospitality and in the mechanical trade areas, they are very popular.
That's good to know. That's very good information for our viewers, I'm sure. Are there any other incentives that the Australian government is offering to potential students, Sanji?
Yes, as you know, Australia is going through some serious skill shortages. So,
Yes.
in the short term, they have made a decision that the students are already here. They are only allowed to work 20 hours a week. That's 40 hours a fortnight. Now, this rule has been relaxed, and currently, students are allowed to work full time. But this will not last. It will be up to the 30th of June 2023, that is coming June. They'll be allowed to work full time, so long as it doesn't affect their studies. Now, from there on, it will not go back to the old rules, but there will be some concessions. The old rule was 40 hours a fortnight. Now, in going forward from 1st of July, it will be 48 hours a fortnight.
Right. And from the period of application, Sanji, to the period that students can come here, what's that period like? Is it a very fast thing? Do you think students would be able to apply and reach here prior to June when the rules change?
No, it's about students who are already here, Sonari. So the students who are already here in Australia studying, that's what I was referring to. They can work full time till 30th of June. But should anyone come in March or April, yes, they also could work full time. However, come 1st of July 2023, they would be only allowed to work 48 hours fortnight. This may change depending on the skill requirement.
It's still better than the previous amount, which was 40 hours a fortnight, isn't it?
That is correct.
Yeah.
But students have to bear in mind that these rules are there, the restrictions are there, so that they won't, it doesn't affect their studies. Because the primary purpose of the students must be to come and study, and then after studies, there are more opportunities.
And how long can students remain and work in Australia once they finish their studies, Sanji?
Generally, for people who have done a bachelor's degree, it is 2 years. For people who have done a master's degree, it's 3 years. And for people who have done PhD studies, it is 4 years. But there are some new rule changes coming, and that's coming on the 1st of July. So what happens is all the students, in addition to their 2 or 3 or 4 years, will automatically get an extension of 2 more years for students who study or finish their studies from 1st of July 2023.
After the 1st of July.
That's correct. However, I have to admit that extension of another 2 years will be applicable to only some students with certain occupations. So there's a whole list of occupations.
Right.
If you have studied those occupations, then you will be entitled to 2 plus 2 years, or 3 plus 2 years, or perhaps 4 plus 2 years, depending on whether you did a bachelor's, a master's, or a PhD.
And I suppose our viewers can contact you if they want that information as to what those areas are.
Yes, certainly they could seek the advice of any migration agent on these new rules that has come through. Yes.
That's fantastic news. Thank you, Sanji. I was also wondering about the areas, as in the geographical areas where students might choose to study. Will that affect their possibilities or their potential?
Yes, what will happen is we have, in addition to all those number of years on the additions that I was talking about, if they have studied in a regional, certain regional cities, they would be able to get an additional 1 year. That rule is already there. But if the university has been in rural area, Australia, they could extend it by 2 years. So you could have a person who has done a bachelor's degree getting up to even 6 years. This is given for them to get ready with their permanent resident opportunities.
Excellent news all round, Sanji. As long as the changes that come after the 1st of July don't affect that negatively, I suppose.
That's right. It is for people who are applying for their post-work streams after 2023.
Lovely. Thank you so much for sharing all this information with us, Sanji. And we look forward to speaking to you again next week.
You're welcome, Srari.